They always start by calling you the black sheep, the odd one, glitch in the family photo. They say it like they're just describing you, but the truth is simpler. You didn't absorb their fears, their habits, their convenient little lies. You didn't inherit the script they expected you to follow. That label isn't insight. It's a reaction to someone who isn't shaped by the environment the way everyone else is. People use black sheep when they don't have the vocabulary to understand someone who thinks independently. Eventually, you grow out of the phase where you try to defend yourself. You stop trying to make them see you accurately. You stop explaining. You stop adjusting your volumes. That's where the shift happens. You become sharper, more aware, less apologetic, not louder, clearer. When you reach that point, you stop being the odd one out and start being the one who moves on their own terms. That's the moment the black sheep becomes the wolf. Not because you became hostile, but because you stopped needing access to places that never offered you respect in the first place. People say you're hated for no reason, but human reactions don't come out of thin air. There's always a trigger. Some people look at you and feel exposed. You remind them of the things they avoid in themselves. Your presence disrupts the version of reality they depend on. You don't bow, you don't flatter, you don't play for approval, and that alone is enough to set off alarms in people who survive on approval. Instead of dealing with that discomfort, they turn it outward. It's easier for them to dislike you than to face what you reveal about them. The debate about destiny and free will becomes clearer the more you pay attention to how the world actually works. A lot of what people call choice is just a series of lanes designed to funnel them into predictable outcomes. You're told you're choosing, but the options were curated long before you arrived. That's the rigging. Destiny becomes whatever happens when you don't question anything. Free will becomes the small pocket of space where you push back even slightly and refuse the Puritan roles. Most people won't do it because responsibility is heavier than obedience. You weren't supposed to see the gears turning. You were supposed to move along with the rhythm everyone else follows. When you stop doing that, the system you grew up in starts looking strange. You notice manipulation dressed as advice. You notice peer pressure packaged as tradition. You notice how often people trade authenticity for comfort. And once those patterns appear, they don't disappear. Awareness is irreversible. That's why everything changes after you wake up. Not because the world changes, but because you stop playing along. Being the black sheep was never the real issue. The issue was you refusing to be molded. People don't know what to do with someone who isn't easily influenced. When you detach from their expectations, they lose the version of you they could control. That's the wolf stage. Self-contained, observant, deliberate. Not a threat, just uncontrollable. And that alone makes people nervous. The hostility you attract isn't random. It's the cost of existing without disguises. Crowds trust people who mirror them. You don't. You never did. And that's why they misread you before you even speak. They're responding to the gap between who they pretend to be and who you actually are. This has never been personal. It's instinct. Systems function smoothly when everyone stays predictable. You saw through it. You didn't collapse yourself to fit. You didn't shrink to make others feel steady. You stopped trying to survive by blending in, and you learned to move independently in a place that punishes independence. You weren't built for smallness. You weren't built to echo the room. And you definitely weren't built to walk in formation just because everyone else does. Wolves don't learn their steps from sheep. They don't wait for permission to grow. They don't soften themselves to make others comfortable. They move the way they're meant to, and the world adjusts, not the other way around. And wolves don't walk like sheep.